Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Oh my goodness, it is 2025 and it got here rapidly. So 2026 will probably get here even faster. But the other day, I had, the last couple weeks, I have seen more people, and this isn't a morbid video, but no, it's not a morbid video. What I want to tell you, the last few weeks, it's like I have seen more people that have passed away, that have been diagnosed with cancer, that have just serious health issues of one kind or another. And it's like, and then my husband and I don't know, we were sitting here one night, and I guess it was 3 days ago. It was New Year's Eve. And we were sitting here the day before, and we were looking at the weather for the next day, and it was like, oh, it's supposed to be fairly decent, like in the 60s, and sunny. And I said, you know what? Let's take a bike ride, a motorcycle ride. And he's like, okay. So we just hopped on the bike the next day and took a ride, went and had a nice lunch. And while we were riding along, I thought, you know what? This is what life is supposed to be. Now, whether riding a motorcycle does it for you or not is irrelevant. The point is, we didn't come here to be stressed out by a job, or to be stressed out by our bills, or to be stressed out by anything. And to live in such restraints where you can't have fun. We came here to enjoy life, to enjoy the journey. So 2025 is the year 9, which is completions. It is finishing out a phase and starting a new phase. So let this be your year to wrap up all the loose ends, wrap up all the nonsense that's no longer serving you, so you can have fun. So you can enjoy life. What are, I said this in my last video, you are abundant. When you go back and look at the things that you've bought in life that you are buying now, and I know, when you're sitting in a place where you're struggling to pay your bills, it is hard to look at the fact that you're abundant. But you have money to pay your bills. You have money to do certain things. And what are you spending your money on? I look at, and this is not a judgment thing. I told my husband the other day, I said that the hard thing, it's like when I was a financial analyst, I would go into houses that were huge, beautiful homes, and they had very little furniture because they had to keep up with the Joneses. It's all about the look. It's all about what your friends are doing or your neighbors are doing, or whatever. So what are you spending your money on? And I'm just gonna, if you have, I don't even want to say an addiction, but do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you do drugs of whatever, whether it's marijuana or cocaine or heroin or whatever? Do you buy things? What drives me crazy is and it used to drive, and even when I was a financial analyst, it used to drive me crazy. People would say, I can't afford X. I can't pay my bills. while they're sitting there smoking. And I'm like, do you realize how much money you're spending on that? But it's a choice. You know, they choose to spend their money on cigarettes or alcohol or drugs or clothes. There are people that buy tons of clothes. Their closet's full. You can't wear that many clothes. Shoes, nail polish. I don't care what it is. What are you choosing to spend your money on? Every one of those things is you're doing it to try to fill a void or cover something up. And I know if you're in that position, you don't want to hear this. We were standing here face to face, you'd argue with me and tell me, no, it's not I'm not covering anything up. You are. It's your choice to spend money on that thing, whatever it is. Meanwhile, society, the government, whoever has brainwashed us to make us think we need that stuff. What it has done is brainwashed you to think you need it, so you stay stuck in their system. As soon as you step away from their system, you start gaining your freedom back. You know, because all of those things are not healthy. It's funny because my husband used to smoke. And he said, it has said on the package that smoking causes cancer. Not maybe. It causes cancer. But people choose to still smoke. It causes your life insurance rate to go up. And you might just think, oh, well, it's just $5 here and it's just $5 there and it's just $5 here. But those $5 over time add up. And whether it's smoking, drinking, drugs, cars, clothes. Maybe I said clothes, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter when you buy things that you don't have to have, but it's a choice because it makes you feel good or it makes you feel happy or it calms your nerves. It's an addiction. But the government wants to keep you in that addiction, to keep you in control. And I don't know about you, but when I figured out, I'm one of these people, you don't tell me, you don't try to control me. That's just not going to happen. And when I figured out the system, I was like, no, we're not playing this game. I control me, not you, i.e. the government, not big pharma, not people that live in this mindset of it's got to be this way or you're wrong, or this way or you're going to go to hell. No. If you want freedom, you have to take the first step. Nobody can do this for you. And I know this video is probably not going to set well with a lot of people, because to evolve, to grow, to become more centered, more at peace, more free, you have to take responsibility for you. You have to take responsibility and take ownership that you are the one that puts you in this position. I don't care. And I mean this with love. not judgment or blame or any of that stuff. But the only way you're going to experience freedom is to own it. Own it. Stop blaming others for why you're where you are. Stop living in, I can't afford that, when you're buying all these other things that you don't need. And it could be people in your life. Are you surrounding yourself with people that are draining you simply because you don't even like yourself? For me, it was guys. I had to have a man in my life because I was trying to fill a void, because I didn't love me. I needed somebody else to love me, to fill that void. There's nobody that can love you enough to fill that void until you love yourself. There are not enough cigarettes in this world that you can smoke to fill that void until you start loving yourself. There's not enough alcohol. There's not enough clothes. There's not enough whatever it is. Most people have something that they're trying to fill that void with. And only when you come to the realization of what that is, what is your crutch, what is your security blanket, what is your addiction, what is your go-to that isn't serving you. You have to figure out what that is and be strong enough to say, you know what, I'm done. Because what if whatever it is tying you to the corruption? It's tying you and it's enabling the corruption. You're feeding the corruption. Because all of that stuff that you're buying, that you're consuming, that you're doing, they're making the money. They're the ones that are living high on the hog while you're living paycheck to paycheck. And you can't afford food. You can't afford to buy your kid a pair of jeans or school lunch or whatever it is. You know, and even if it's people, if you're trying to surround yourself with people to fill that void, what are those people doing for you? It's like, I said something to a friend of mine the other day, a few weeks ago. I said, when I grew up with usually my dad saying, it's not all about you, Pam. The world does not revolve around you, Pam. Well, you know what? Yes, it does. My world revolves around me. Your world revolves around you. And we've been brainwashed to think that that's selfish. How dare you think about it's all about you? That's selfish. That's conceited. No, that's taking your power back. Now, if you come at it from an arrogant, ego type way, yes, that's not what I'm talking about. But you're the creator of your existence. You have created your existence. So your world, whatever is in your existence, is all about you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. They are just players in your game. You're the one that's written the rules for your game. They're just playing along. If you don't like the game, rewrite your rules. So if you don't like your existence, rewrite your rules. Change your mindset. Let go of what is no longer serving you. If it's an addiction, if it's people, if it's a job. Now, I'm not telling you just walk away from your job, or walk away from your partner, or sometimes you need to do that, yes. But you need to take ownership for you. And I know a lot of you have done that. But the more you do it, the more and the happier you're going to be. I told my husband the other day when we were riding, well, not when we were riding, because it's kind of hard to talk when you're on a motorcycle. But I told him, I said, life is too short. It really, truly is. I mean, my neighbor, my past neighbor, when I was with my ex-husband, she died right before Thanksgiving. She's younger than me. She just had a seizure, didn't come out of it, and ended up passing away. It was unexpected. And she and her husband were a great match. They were a great team. I loved them to death. She's gone. Another friend of mine I just saw this week. A couple of friends of mine. One, her dad, right after Thanksgiving, I think, had stomach pains. He went to the hospital. He's got stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Another a fellow baker, a person that we would help each other when I ran my bakery. She has her own bakery. I had mine. She has breast cancer. She's had a double mastectomy, and she's fighting that. And it's just like, bam, out of the blue. You never know when it's your last day. And again, this is not meant to be morbid. You never know when you're not going to get another chance, when you're not going to have another, I'll do it later. I'll get to it one day. Start taking control of your life and living to its fullest. Be happy. I see so many people that are miserable. They won't acknowledge it, but they're literally miserable. I was there. Because I used to be miserable. If you had told me I was, I'd have thought you were crazy. I'd have said, no, I'm not miserable. You don't know how miserable you are until you're not miserable anymore. You don't know how controlled you're being. How controlled you're being? Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, how much they're controlling you until you stop letting them control you. This is the year to take your power back. It's not about metaphysics. It's not about spirituality. It's not about anything other than you being all you can be from a place of love, from a place of self-love and self-fulfillment. I don't care what you believe in. On some level, you have to believe in yourself. And like I said, it's because I had this conversation. My husband and I talk a lot, okay? Which is a good thing. But we had this conversation the other day. And I said, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I said, you have to, and I was talking about myself. I got to the point where I was looking at me thinking, oh, I know what it was. He said something, he was listening to a motivational speaker. I can't remember which one it was. Anyway, it's irrelevant. But the guy was saying, there was an orange theory, whatever. He said, you take an orange and it doesn't matter how much you squeeze that orange. It doesn't matter how hard you squeeze it, how many times you squeeze it, anything. When you open it up, the only thing you're going to get out of it is orange juice. You can't get grapefruit juice out of it. You won't get anything other than orange juice. And what he was saying is, look at yourself when the shit hits the fan, when things don't go the way you think they're supposed to go. When somebody does something, how do you react? Because you can stand here and say all day long, I'm full of love, I'm full of light, I love everybody, I'm full of peace, I'm full of this and that and the other thing. But when somebody does something to pluck your last nerve, when a bill shows up that you're not expecting, when your car breaks down, how do you respond? This all happened just the other day, us having this conversation, but it took me back to when he was going through his hyperbaric treatment, because we were apart for a month. It gave the two of us that month. It was the biggest blessing on so many levels, because one day that orange theory, I had no idea about the orange thing, but that concept hit me. I was like, I talk about love and light. I talk about loving people unconditionally. And yet, I'm not there. Because I was lashing out at him. I was letting things piss me off. It takes that realization to come back to yourself and realize, you know what? That's not I'm not that orange. When I get squeezed, when I get pissed, it's not orange juice. It's vinegar. It's nasty. It's not pretty. I made the choice then that that's not who I want to be. That's not who I choose to be anymore. And he told me, he's like, you know what? That month helped both of us more than I can tell you. He said, and I see a huge difference in you since I've been home. And he's been home almost 2 months now. And it has been completely different. Like I said, it has been the biggest blessing because I look at things differently. I react differently. But I had to look at me. It wasn't about him. If you have somebody that's plucking your last nerve, no matter what you do, you have a choice. You can keep letting them pluck your last nerve, or you can change it by leaving or changing you. And I'm just going to be real. Before he went on to that place, I was ready for him to leave. But when I tell you everything happens for a reason, it was divine timing. Was it perfect? No. Everything happens for a reason. The scenarios that led up to him going to that place for a month was perfect. Because right before he left, I was ready for him to move out and be done. And I told him when he left here, I said, I want you gone for the whole month. Don't even come home, because you need to work on you. Guess what? I mean, he did, but I needed to work on me too. And when you can come to that place where you know you need to work on you to make things better, because it's not all about the other person. My God, the power behind it is bigger than I can tell you. Coming to a place where you accept who you are without judgment. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, change it. I look at him in a whole different light now. Do we still go through things where he does something that I don't agree with? Yeah, but you know what? It's not that big of a deal. I look at it differently, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't agitate me. It just is. So, but what I'm saying, all of that to say this: let this year be if you have not done it yet. I know some of you have, and kudos to you. Keep going, because we're never done. We're never there. But that's okay. There is no there. Just make each day better than yesterday. You have the power to do that. But let this be the year that you clear out the baggage. You clear out the nonsense, the stuff that's no longer serving you. If you have an addiction, you have to make the choice to stop it. If you have a crutch, if you have a, whatever you want to call it, something that's not serving you, you have the choice to change it. I was always told, the other thing my dad always told me is you can do anything you put your mind to. When you sit with that and you really realize the power behind that and the truth behind that, oh my God, it is truer than I think my dad even realized. But I knew. I never, anytime I put my mind to something, I always accomplished it. Always. And it was true. If I half-assed it, it probably wouldn't happen. But if I was like hell-bent that, yep, this is going to happen, come hell or high water, I'm going to make it happen. It always happened. It still does. So, your mind is extremely powerful. If you put your mind to quitting that addiction, becoming a better person, becoming healthier, becoming financially free, becoming whatever it is that you want to become, you can make it happen. But not from a place of victimhood. Not from a place of blame on somebody else. Nobody did anything to you. It all happened for you. It got you to where you are. If you don't like where you are, again, it's your game. You're the controller of your game. Change the rules. You know, it's choices that you make every day. I choose when I wake up in the morning, I choose to be happy. I choose to look at things from a place of, I said something, because this is another thing, and I know this video is long. You have to be strong enough to look at yourself and ask yourself those tough questions. Are you being mean? Are you being hateful? When you're being squeezed, are you producing orange juice or are you producing something else? Before my husband went to the hyperbaric treatment, which again was a blessing beyond what I can tell you, because it's helped him. Again, it works. The FDA, Big Pharma, whoever, they're not going to tell you it works because it works. If it works, they block it. But most of us know that. So anyway, before he went there, I wasn't who I said I was. I had to be, and this doesn't come from an ego. It's like it's not even humbling. It's just being honest and real with yourself. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you're only lying to yourself. You're not lying to anybody else because nobody else really cares. It's not impacting anybody else. You're only destroying your life. You're only making your life a living hell. That's where I was. Even though I said I live in heaven on earth every day, and I did, but now my heaven's even better. Heaven is infinite. You know, do you have peace? Do you have joy? Do you have happiness? Do you have freedom? For me, yes, in all of those boxes. And it continues to get even better because I continue to work on me. I continue to let go of what no longer serves me. And I'm honest with me. You know, are there people in your life that you need to let go because they don't serve you anymore? They may have served a period of time. Why are you holding on to that? Who is it helping? If it's not helping you, if it's not, and I always had this, I was not always the nicest person. But I had this saying, if you're not an asset to me, if you become a liability, I don't need you in my life. Again, it all goes back to the world doesn't revolve around you. Oh, yes, it does. If you're not an asset to me, I don't need you in my life. I choose not to have you in my life. That doesn't mean I'm not here to help other people, but I'm also not going to be drained. You know, I'll help you as long as you want the help. But when you start blaming other people and you won't accept ownership for why you're in your situation, I can't help you. You have to help you. I'm here to support you and guide you. You have to do the work. And if you're not willing to put in the work, okay. You might get it one day. But again, that's your journey, not mine. So anyway, I know this was a long video, but it's the first of the year. People make New Year's resolutions all the time to stop smoking, stop drinking, stop buying whatever, get healthier. Now's the time to do it. Put your mind to it and do it. Because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed another breath. Nobody knows when their last day is, even if you think you're going to commit suicide. Because how many people try and fail? How many people die for less? You know, I could be sitting here right now and have a heart attack. Or I could put a gun into my head and pull the trigger and die, or be brain damaged for the rest of my life and be a vegetable because it wasn't my time to go. You can't, you don't control this, you know? So be happy. My New Year's resolution is to live every day to its fullest. If we decide we want to go somewhere, we're going to go somewhere. If somebody calls me and says, Pam, I need your help, I have the freedom to help them. I have the freedom, and sorry, my dog is just, he wants to go out. But it's choices that I've made to give myself that freedom. You have those same choices. You have to make them. So I hope you guys have an amazing, prosperous 2025. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to tell you there's something wrong with you. I'm not, that's not the purpose behind this video. If that's how you're taking it, that's something you need to look at, because it's a trigger for you. Let your triggers be your guides. If something triggers you and pisses you off, if me telling you nobody did this to you, you did it to yourself, it happened for a reason, if that pisses you off, it's something you need to look at. Why are you still blaming another person? Why are you still doing whatever you're doing if it doesn't make you happy? So be happy. Take control. It's taken me time to get to this point. It didn't happen overnight. But it's choices that I have continued to make and continued to grow and continued to work on me. I still work on me. But that's okay. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. We're not meant to be. But I'm happy. And I'm free. And live in heaven every day. I want you guys to get there too. I really, truly, truly do. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what anything. I don't care what your belief system is. I want you happy and free, and to break free from the control of the matrix, the control of the world. So have an amazing day. I'm always here to help you. I'm always here to help guide you. And like I said, I hope and send every one of you love and many, many, many blessings for 2025. Again, 9 is the year of completions. Wrap that mess up that you don't like anymore, put it in a box, put a nice big red bow on it, and leave it at the door of 2024. Don't bring it into 2025. Just leave it. And you will be amazed how much freer you feel, how much happier and lighter you feel. So, I love you, and we will talk soon.